What's going on, everybody? It's Endless One Up. I hope you're doing well. Look what I got in the mail today. I got Jsaux's clear backplate. I'm super duper excited to try this thing out on my Steam Deck. Let's get to it. Let's talk about what's inside of the box. And if you're interested in getting one of these, you can find a link down in the description. So let's jump into it. One cool thing, they give you everything you need in the package itself. I get this little plastic bag, has all the screws that you need for both actual buttons, and it gives you little tiny finger condoms, as I call them. They're just for static discharge to prevent that from happening while you're touching the device and whatnot. And you also don't want to get your oils from your hands on any kind of electronic components if you don't have to. But that's really nice. Little pry tool for when you try to pry the back part off, which is pretty easy though. But we're gonna check it all out, do that. One neat thing, they do include a couple different types of buttons. So the yellow ones here are the standard buttons, and then they have like high profile ones and low profile ones. So I'm curious to check out all those and see how they behave. I might just go with the standard ones because I don't want to change its feel so much that I'm like, I don't know. The cool thing is I can put all these buttons on the device and see how it feels and see if it's weird to me or not. If it is weird, I can always change them out too because it's not that hard. So let's talk about the first gotcha or tip. Before you do anything, make sure that your Steam Deck is turned off and not just in standby mode. Make sure that if you have a micro SD card, that you eject that bad boy, okay? Take that out. You don't want to make an expensive mistake. Leave that in there and then break it in half because you're trying to pry open the back off of it. So once you do all that, I would say put on your little finger condoms. You're going to unscrew everything and then put on your finger condoms and then pry the thing off. And then you're going to follow this little instruction booklet they have. It's really straightforward. There's not a whole lot to it. It tells you about the different color coding of the buttons, what they are. And then there's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 installation steps. It's pretty straightforward. There is a user guide as well. This one's a little bit longer if you wanted to take a look. Just kind of some manufacturing info in a bunch of different languages. The cool thing about this is this instruction is written pretty well. I was able to follow it, so I don't think we're going to have an issue. They did supply you with everything, which is really nice. And they do give you a warning. You know, they give you those little tiny finger gloves, and they're very useful. And they even warn you to use those finger gloves because you're about to touch something that costs $400, $600, you know, between that range. So be careful and take heed. So let's get to it, and we'll kind of do the easy bake oven thing. I'll take the back plate off, show you that, and then we'll do a couple close-ups of the back plate they gave me. And I have a surprise for everybody. The back plate they gave me, they customized it for me and my YouTube channel, which is super duper awesome of them. They actually put Endless One Up right there on this aluminum plate. So not the whole thing isn't clear, as you can see. You can see my hand behind it, but this is an actual aluminum plate. And then there's thermal paste here with a little piece of plastic that you'll have to peel off. It's in the instructions as well. But this is where you can place the buttons to check them out. And again, there are the different options. That's really cool. This feels like really nice plastic, like plastic that would probably bend before it snaps. Does that make sense? I'm not a plastic connoisseur. I'm just thinking that it seems pretty legit. It doesn't feel like plastic that would easily, you know, I'm bending it right now, like you can see. And I don't hear any creaky noises or anything, so it seems pretty legit. It feels like it would take an impact. There are little metal inserts for the screws for the buttons, which is very nice to see. So those are actually within the grip here. And then you can try out different buttons, and I can just hold it like this and see how they feel. And should be pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of holes. There's not a lot of screw holes on here. There's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's it. Only 8 screws. So let's go ahead and get to it. So a little tip, when you're taking out the screws to the back plate, they're very, very tiny. What I would suggest to you is to take that little piece of foam backing that they have, and I would actually just press those into that so they can't roll away. So I don't know if you can see that. This is a really useful thing that I've always done with different types of things if I'm removing screws and I have something like this. Just a little quick tip. I do want to make note that the screws in the center are shorter than the ones on the edge, so just be aware of that. So there's like a difference in size there. I know you can't see that very well, but you can see that my fingers are open in different sizing. I could zoom in, but just know that. So what I would suggest you do is when you take them out, I would put them into that little plastic foam thing in the same order that you pulled them. So like edge, edge, center, center kind of thing. So then you know exactly where they go. There's only 8 screws. I only have 4 more to go. All right, we got all the screws out now. So I think the quickest way to probably pry this thing open I've dropped it many times and it seems to pop open from the edges the best. And if you read the instructions, it does tell you to kind of try it from the edge. You can kind of fit this little piece in there. You can even start from these buttons right here. So my tip to you is to take the little tool and start right where the button is and slide it in there like so until it pops. It should pop. There we go. And then once that pops, you should be able to pry it on up just like so. Ta-da. Ta-da! Oh no, our finger condoms. No, I haven't touched the components yet. Notice how my fingers aren't in there. So the bags are marked too. This one's telling me these are for the screws that are meant for the buttons. That's really nice. These are the screws meant for the actual device, which is cool. And then here's the tiny ones that they want you to use for the center. So you can see even the bags have like little color coding. Say, hey, these are where the screws go. This is the millimeter size. Talk about good presentation. That is nice. So yeah, pretty cool. So let's go ahead and screw those buttons in and then put the backplate on. So I was just thinking to myself, I was like, oh, it'd be nice if the screwdriver they gave you was magnetized. It is. Whoop. It's not super duper powerful, but it is magnetized. Pretty cool. So that'll make your life a little easier. So I always start with the outside screws first, and then I'll do the 2 inner screws, and I'll do that the same way on the actual backplate itself. All right, so I got my buttons screwed in now. We still have the plastic coating on the thermal paste, so we're gonna leave that there just for a second. You don't want to touch that with your fingers, like the plastic, it doesn't matter, the actual thermal paste. So the buttons are in, they are function, I can press on them and stuff. Seems good to go. And let's just do a little close-up of the name that they put on there for me. That's so cool. So you can see right there, they put my name on there. That was so nice of them. Jsaux, you rock. So there it is, all put together. This thing is rad as heck. I love clear plastic. Why do I love this so much? This is so freaking rad. I love that you can see all the ribbon cables in here and stuff, and the fan. Like, this is freaking cool as crap. And I don't mind this little piece of aluminum here, because if you think about it, all that's behind this is also a piece of aluminum. So what a prime opportunity to put something like useful there. Like, this piece of aluminum is going to act as a heat sink, and that thermal paste is going to transfer the heat through the actual device out of here. Like, I love it. This is smart. This is a well-designed piece of freaking equipment. So, just as I said, we didn't have our little micro SD card in there, which is smart on us. And we heeded the warnings, and now we can put it back in. All the screws are in now, and there we are. So that's the finished product. It was super great. Do I think the little, finger gloves are needed? If you don't trust yourself and you think you might touch those components, then yes, put them on. I did not touch any of the components, and my hands never actually got anywhere near any of the electronics, so I didn't actually put them on. I just, took it off, put the buttons on here, and then put it on there and screwed it on. So I never came in contact with any of those. But if you feel like you might, just be careful, and that's what those things are there for. I mean, I've been building computers for a long time, and I have had static discharge jump from my motherboard to my cheek. So be careful out there. And this thing's awesome. Go pick yourself up one. It's down in the description. This looks super cool. We got the wood front and then the clear back. That's so cool. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. I appreciate it. And thank you, Jsaux. Keep kicking butt. Keep making super duper cool stuff. I love it. And I'll see you down in the comments, and check me out in the next video. Peace.